Good day, dear friend, and welcome to this Lionel Legal. This is the legal version, the sister channel, so to speak. I don't know, the sister brother channel of our regular Lionel Nation. I'm so glad you can be joining us. So glad you can be with us today. And let me remind you, if you'd like to always support, there's loads of ways for you to do it. And also, you can be this thing called a member. That's right, you can be a member, a Lionel Legal member, get videos early and all of the perks, and show the world by virtue of a badge of honor that says you proudly are a member of Lionel Legal. Anyway, let's get started. Have you heard the latest regarding Diddy? Diddy is the case. I got to be careful how I say this. Diddy is the case of them all. It's better. It's better. What am I saying? It's horrible. It is horrid. 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 It involves a level of depravity, ladies and gentlemen, I have not seen. And I can't even imagine. I can't imagine this. Caligula-like, I got to be careful how I say this, involving minors, and the latest is so salacious, so horrible, so awful, so without peer. It's and it's not, remember, it's not just him. Oh, no. It is not just Diddy. It is others as well. It is people that knew about this. People who, by virtue of their misprision, people who had an affirmative duty, perhaps reporters. The law says, for the most part, that you do not have to report when others are committing crimes. There are a few exceptions, ladies and gentlemen. And that's when you are a mandatory reporter. And a mandatory reporter, for example, the teacher, healthcare official, nurse, certain relationships that the law places you in. Does that make sense to you? Good. Well, let me see if I can explain this story, because it was breaking today, and it is mind blowing. And I'm trying to make sure I say this to maintain a degree of decorum. Okay. But around 3 o'clock, roughly, sort of, today, Eastern time, one of Diddy's lawyers says and reports to, by the way, a wonderful site called TMZ, says as follows, quote, as Mr. Combs' legal team has emphasized, he cannot address every meritless allegation in what has become a reckless media circus. That said, Mr. Combs emphatically and categorically denies as false and defamatory any claim that he abused anyone, including minors. He looks forward to proving his innocence and vindicating himself in court, where the truth will be established based on evidence, not speculation. You digging this? You following this? By the way, like this video. I need your support. I need you to like and subscribe. I can't say it enough. It is the lifeblood, ladies and gentlemen. It is the lifeblood of what we do. I beg you, I beseech, I entreat, I ask. I think I'm pretty clear as to what I want you to do. Okay. Now, a couple of things which are super duper critical. of which I want you to understand and be aware of. This is not a celebrity case where you say, I don't care about these celebrities. Oh, nay, 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 nay. This is bigger than anything you have ever seen. And may I say something also, dear friends? I hope you allow me to say this before I forget. This is also very critical. There is as you probably know, there is a dock strike. These dock strikes, these in this massive, massive strike, which is going to cripple American commerce. Do you hear what I'm saying? It's going to cripple American commerce. And for the longest time, I've told people, and I'll put it right here, I've told people that you have got to be aware, especially when it comes to food. Now, hear me out. Years ago, when I first mentioned this to people, they said, are you a prepper? I don't know where that came from. As though this is crazy to say prepper. What are you talking about? Go to a Costco. See people walking around with 25,000 cans or whatever. I guess those are preppers. It's also called suppliers. Or in Diddy's case, remember they were saying he was buying the dare I say he was buying the oh God, what am I trying to say? He was buying the baby oil en masse. So right now there's something called My Patriot Supply. My Patriot Supply. And if you go to preparewithlionel.com, I've got the link right there. Preparewithlionel.com. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. But friends, I am telling you right now, did you see what they're saying? This is going to be crippling. This is going to affect everything from cars to lumber to food, anything involving boats, transportation, docks. It's going to be, I'm telling you. And this president and this vice president are doing nothing. Nothing. You have a president who confused Houthi strikes with dock workers. Preparewithlionel.com. There's the link. It's on the discussion section, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how to tell you this. This is as serious as it gets. They are telling you this is going to be crippling. Don't wait until the last minute. Okay. Let's talk about this. This story is just unbelievable. It is seriously unbelievable. I can't believe what I'm even seeing. But let's go back to this horrid case. Diddy is about to be hit with lawsuits for assault. I can't say. I'm going to say S assault. S assault. S. I'm going to say S because of the algorithms, but I think you know what I'm saying. He's going to be hit with S assaults and abuse, and a Houston-based law firm is representing 120 accusers and telling their stories for the first time, including allegations that Diddy abused a 9-year-old boy. You hear what I'm saying? Now remember, there is always this thing called the presumption of innocence. It applies, yes, to criminal law, but it also applies to civil as well. And this is what we're seeing in this case right here. But this just changed the texture and the tenor of everything. Mr. Busby claims his law firm will be filing suit on behalf of other accusers who are claiming that they were minors when Mr. Diddy abused them, including another who says that Diddy forcibly did something. I'm going to leave it at that. It's horrid. Again, accusations which must be proved. The plaintiff's lawyer, Busby, says another accuser was 15 years old when they were flown to New York City to attend a party, one of the famous parties, where they were drugged and taken into a private room with Diddy, where he allegedly involved himself in unconscionable abuse with others who took turns. A lawyer who has sued celebs in the past, including Travis Scott and Chris Brown, this is Mr. Busby, claims his clients were, I can't even say this, just horribly attacked, horribly assaulted, and that they were exploited by Mr. Diddy and his associates. He also says that they were typically forced to consume some type of a drink that was laced with xylazine or trank, a quote, they called it a horse tranquilizer. Have you seen xylazine? Have you seen that? The stuff that freaks people out, that makes people frozen. You've seen these people bent. You've seen the Kensington, Pennsylvania photos bent. Have you seen these? It's horrid. If this is true, they've got to prove this. Now, as was reported, Mr. Busby's law firm announced that they were repping more than 50 victims who came forward with what they call gut-wrenching stories about what happened at these freak-off parties. They also, the other ones called puppy parties. It's just horrible. He also described mind-boggling, breathtaking allegations of debauchery and depravity. And I call it vile Caligula-like horrors exacted by powerful people. And now he says there are more than 120 accusers who will be filing individual lawsuits against Diddy and others. This is a massive issue, massive case in Maine. And the plaintiff's lawyer strongly hinted that other celebrities would be named in the lawsuits and said he would be suing anyone who was involved or knew about the alleged abuse and refused to put an end to these things. That's going to be tough. That is called misprision. And that's where you have, as I've said, a duty to report certain things. Now, this lawyer, Busby, said that the alleged abuse happened in well-known venues and hotels, as well as private homes and residences, mostly in LA and New York. And he said the lawsuits will include names that will shock you. Now, it should also be noted, it's very important to note, that he has not yet filed a single case in any jurisdiction in any state. Meanwhile, Diddy is facing a mountain of other lawsuits, sitting in jail as he awaits trial following his federal indictment and arrest. He's pled not guilty. His lawyer, Agnifilo, is fighting hard for him. I mean, this is the tip of the iceberg. Now, my friends, let me tell you right now, this is going to be a monster. That's why I want you to keep it here. Make sure you follow Lionel Legal and be a member so that you can get these things. We're going to be hearing, you're going to be hearing a lot more cases from more of a legal point of view. Now, what is going to happen? Let me see if I can explain this carefully. We'll get to Eric Adams as well. What they're doing to Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City, I can't believe it. I'm in his corner. Enough. This is the case you have? This is the case you have? Airline upgrades? This is the case? Come on. You've got to be kidding me. Everybody, now, that's very difficult because the mayor of New York City, everybody around him, he has the biggest bunch of jadruls and thugs and people you cannot imagine. CR, you, young lady, you are the first member of our club. Thank you. You, young lady, you. Can I say young lady? Can I say you? You. I thank you for doing this. Now, let's keep going. Why is this important? My friends, the first rule that Uncle Lenny will teach you, and I hope you listen to me very carefully, is that when it comes to the law, we don't care who the defendant is. We don't care. I've always been asked a question. Can you represent somebody you know is guilty? Of course. What are you talking about? Of course. Of course I can. Yes, of course. But if they're guilty, it's like, well, that's why they normally would need a lawyer, don't you think? Yeah, well, sort of, yeah. Yeah, but what if you need what if you know their lawyer? I don't care. What if you know they're guilty? I don't care. What does that matter? Yeah, but you're defending them. I'm not vouching for them. I'm not saying, hey, way to go. Good for you. Hey, I like what you did. That showed moxie. No. It doesn't work like that. Everybody's entitled to have their to very, very simply to make sure that they have the cases proved against them. That's all it means. That's all it means, to make sure that people have the case proved against them. That's it. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to say anything. I got to make sure that this guy legitimately, like, you've got something. Now, as far as cross-examining people, victims, I can't do that, especially people who know are a victim. But let me tell you something. I would have absolutely no problem by telling anyone, guess what? They've got no case against you. You may have done it, but they've got no case against you. They've got no case. If somebody came to me, if a client said, may I talk to you? Of course. Is this confidential? Absolutely. And you don't have to give them $1. I don't know where the hell this came from. You ever hear this? Can I give you $1 so you can be my lawyer? What does that mean? You don't need $1. I don't need consideration. If you're coming to me as a lawyer and I'm saying, yes, you don't have to exchange stuff. A lot of times you'll listen to somebody and you'll say, well, I don't want the case. I got to be able to talk to you. Think of it as the same as you talking to a priest or talking to whomever. And if somebody were to come to me and say, listen, I'm going to tell you something. There's a guy who's on death row tomorrow, yeah? And he's going to get the lethal injection or the chair. I said, yeah. I want you to know something. What is it? He didn't do it. Oh, I did it. You did it. Yeah, I did it. And I don't want you to tell anybody. Can I go to the court and tell somebody what he did? Nope. Yeah, but there's a man going to die. I know it sounds horrible. If somebody tells me they're about to do something, that's a different story. Oh, no. That's never privileged. Or if they want to get me involved in it, it's like, oh, no. That's the fraud. The fraud, the client fraud exception. That's where the lawyer basically involves himself as a co-defendant and then turns around and says, hey, I can't talk about it because no, it doesn't work like that. Same thing as a priest. By the way, we're on this subject. Let me make sure you understand something. Listen to me carefully. Listen to Uncle Lenny. A lot of people think that when they go to anybody that this is private. A privileged communication is something that's interesting. This is, I'm just want to talk about this because most people don't know this. This is a special relationship that is honored by the law, which says this relationship that you have between these two people are so special and so unique, so special that we're going to go out of our way to by virtue of a statute, we are going to make sure we're going to codify it. We're going to say that there is a law that says if you talk to a priest, the clergyman penitent, or a psychotherapist patient, but that it will be protected, and that a prosecutor cannot call somebody into court to testify what you told them. But a lot of times people think there are privileges where they're not. For example, doctor patient. There may not be a doctor patient. What does that mean? You go to a doctor and you say, "Hey, is that a bullet hole?" "Yeah, I got shot." "What happened?" "It was an armed robbery." It was me. I was trying to knock over an armed robbery and I did it. Yeah, okay. Is that privileged? Many states say no. Doctor patient is not privileged. Husband and wife, maybe. You've got the husband and wife privilege, and then you've got the privilege not to testify. I don't want to get too involved in that, but just think about this. Don't assume that you can tell anything you want to everybody else. Okay, don't think that you can just go and tell anybody anything you want. Doesn't work that way. Okay, that's Diddy. Next, as I mentioned, is Eric Adams, who was a jadrul, but what they're doing to him, I can't believe it. I can't believe what they're doing to him. Upgrades. Now, tonight, dear friends, is a debate, the likes of which you're not going to believe. A debate that will blow your mind. A debate that's at 9 p.m. right down the street from us. Right down the street at CBS. Right over there. And Tampon Timmy and Mr. Vance are going to be going on it. And that is going to be something we're going to be going to the Lionel Nation channel for that. We're going to be doing our regular 7 p.m. evening show and then our special post. Whatever. Now, here is the thing, and this is critical, and this is what I want you to understand. More than anything else, this is so critical. I don't want you to think that I'm very clear as to what I believe in. What I believe. When it comes to this debate, this race, this is on trial also. The Constitution of the United States, this wonderful doctrinal codification of who we are. We are not a country of flags. We're not into that stuff at all. Sorry, we are not. It's a different story. We're into something else. Okay? And yes, CR, he is creepy. Creepy. And I hope that Mr. JD goes in and crushes Timmy. Lets him have it with lie after lie after lie. One lie after another. Letting him have it over and over and over and just hitting him harder and harder. And it's very interesting too, because why is that not perjury? I have no idea. He's not under oath, but why, if somebody wants to be the president, I don't get this. Let me also go back to what I said about Mr. Diddy. And I want to be very careful about how I say this. I would have him immediately moved from the Brooklyn detention center. I would have him flown to either not an abandoned, but let's say a federal facility, something like Frankie Five Angels, Frank Pentangeli, remember that? I would have him in a situation where he is watched. He wears paper. Nothing can be used. Nothing, everything tears. Special lights, photosensitive lights that provide. Look at this, CR. Look what you did. Is she beautiful or what? Gifting 5 Lionel legal memberships. Do you hear that? There is, don't even know what to say. Don't even know what to say. Thank you for that. Thank you immensely. So kind. So inimitably, indispensably, ineffably, ineluctably kind. In any event, there's something in this business called noose on a bun. Have you heard about that? Noose on a bun. Since the black arts of poisons have been known to mankind, I take a substance that is, by its very nature, seemingly innocuous, seemingly without any toxicity to it. And I combine it with something almost like a binary bomb works. I combine it with something else that it renders itself or becomes or transmutes into something which is toxic. That substance breaks down and you don't notice anything. Listen to what I'm saying. I don't give a damn. And by the way, this lawyer of this federal lawyer, is a clown. He's saying things that are absolutely ridiculous. Because there's one thing. I promise you. Every lawyer, I always believe, if I represented you, I'm saying nothing. Nothing. I want them to forget about you. We'll see. That's it. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. What do you have to say about the allegations? We'll address those at a time of an appropriate forum or tribunal. Thank you very much. You can't win. You're not going to say something like, oh, well, we better drop the charges. Well, his lawyer said on TV. No. Do you know what happens? I want you to think about the biggest names in television, biggest names in politics, biggest names in government, biggest names in entertainment and hip hop, all intertwined. And little by little, bit by bit, we started to see people like the great Cat Williams, Monique, others talk about this. Eddie, oh God, what's his name? So many people, these very wise, very proud, very ostentatious, these wonderful black performers who are after my own heart, who speak of, dare I say, something that is a conspiracy. Let me ask you something. Does conspiracy theory mean crazy? Yes or no? Does conspiracy theory mean crazy? Yes or no? Anyone? Does conspiracy, when you say, oh, that's just a conspiracy theory. Eddie Griffin, thank you. Cycle, thank you. Eddie Griffin, love him. Love him. Does it mean crazy? It means crazy, right? Conspiracy theory. I don't want to just give you another conspiracy theory. What does that mean? Well, I know, this may be a conspiracy theory. What does that mean? Well, you keep saying, well, I don't know what the hell it means. I mean, it means crazy, right? No, not at all. In the law, not only do we not like you to do stuff, we don't like you arranging to do stuff, even if you never did it. You can commit the murder, but then you can also conspire to commit the murder. We don't even want you conspiring. You would think, oh, who cares about the organization? No, we care about the fact that you reached out and conspired with. What does conspirare mean? Conspire means to breathe with, like respire, respiration. You know what a suspiration is? To suspire as, that's a suspiration. That's a suspire. That's a sigh. So they don't say a conspiration, which is what I mean, but to breathe with. You and someone else are breathing simultaneously. It's the agreement. When somebody says, this may be a conspiracy theory. Well, who? What do you mean? Who are you conspiring with? Who are the parties? I don't know. What do you think? They always say, well, do you think that, do you believe that there was a conspiracy in the death of JFK? Of course there was. Yes. That means that there were at least 2 or more guilty people working together. That's what this means. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what it means. And the great Gore Vidal says, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm a conspiracy analyst. And I'll never forget those words. He said that one of these days it will be an article of faith for people to renounce and denounce and to suspend any and all references to a conspiracy. Ladies and gentlemen, I am telling you right now. I am telling you. Stick with me on this one. Never distrust, never abandon your hunches. Never. Women, especially. Women, I am of the belief, have a sixth sense, a suspicion gene, the likes of which men cannot even remotely explain. If you've had children, something happens to women with children where they know there's something. I've seen this before. And I am telling you that you should never, ever, ever lose your suspicion. When something doesn't seem right to you, there's a reason for that. Don't dismiss it. Don't be one of these people that says, wow, that's great. No. Something doesn't sound right. It doesn't mean that it's necessarily a problem. It just means that, we live in a world where, okay. So I want you to understand something. There are people in the world that I want to know more about. Oprah, Jay-Z, Beyonce, George Clooney, Julia Roberts, Tom Hanks, Spielberg. But Oprah, one of the chosen few. Oprah. Oh, by the way, there are two stars are appearing on Broadway. Last night was the opener at Lincoln Center of Robert Downey Jr., and they panned it. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Pilgrim Media says, your eyes, your tongue better than you use your tongue better than a $3 French tart. Thank you. Well, thank you for that, I guess. That's also called lalation. Lalation, by the way, is this area when babies are growing and they start speaking, they do la 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 da 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 ma 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 la 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 la. They call it lalation is one. Echolalia is also when they repeat what you say. To watch a baby to develop, it's just ontogeny, phylogeny, the whole bit. In any event, so Robert Downey Jr. Opened and they panned it. I mean, they just destroyed it. And I don't think Robert Downey Jr. ever really, he did some, I don't think he's one of the chosen few. Now, keep an eye on Clooney. Clooney is doing good night and good luck. And the word is that they said, you are going to be the hit. We're going to paper that room. So they say, rumors abound. Because you have always been there with us. Which of you believe this bull story about how he penned the letter asking Joe Biden to step down? Do you believe that? He didn't write anything. You know it and I know it. And not only that, we know the truth about him. And I'm going to leave it at that. You know it and I know it, okay? Not that there's anything wrong with it, but stop lying to me. There's something about people lying to me. I know people. I know one in particular. This guy lies over stuff that doesn't even matter. It's the damnedest thing. It's like, what are you lying about that for? Well, I didn't go in the war. Why? Well, I was bitten by a werewolf. I was like, why are you saying that? You don't have to be this lycanthropy. What are you talking about? Well, I just, no, who I saw her. No, you didn't see her. Why are you telling me you saw this person? You're lying. There's something wrong with you. There are people, I hate liars. And George Clooney is a liar. He's been a liar since the whole big busy for somehow he loved Biden one minute and he doesn't. I can't stand this. And let me tell you something. If you don't think that presidents and elections matter, okay, you're out of your mind. Let me also tell you something. You better think about something. I don't care whether you like Trump or not. Doesn't matter to me. You don't have to like him. You know anybody who likes chemotherapy? No. No. You know what syrup of ipecac is? That's when you ingest the poison and you've got to really start puking your guts out, when you've got to become emetic. Howie Brown, you've got a lovely daughter, says 2 of my 3 older sisters are voting for Trump. I'm trying to convince my last to vote for Trump. Interesting. I'll show you how to do this in a moment. But there's a stuff called ipecac. And you drink it, and what they did was they bring you an emesis patient. You go to the emergency room, they bring you this like a wading pool. And you go, what the hell is this? You'll see. No, what is it really? No, it's okay. You ate something? Oh, okay, we're gonna. And you drink this stuff, you go, oh my God, it like goes into your throat, and you just like Vesuvius. Okay, it doesn't taste good, but it works. Chemotherapy is awful, but it kills cancer. Trump is syrup of ipecac. Trump is chemotherapy. Trump is something that I don't care whether you like him. I don't care whether you like him. I don't care. He's going to save this country. And if these bastards get near this office again, I'm telling you, we're through. You can kiss the Constitution, everything goodbye. Now you talk about this. How do you talk to people? Do you want to convince them or do you want to expose their stupidity? Now, one thing, Uncle Lenny's rules. Number 1, if you have somebody, let's say a boss, somebody who's like your program director, oh God, you ever deal with these people? Jeez. In any event, what you do is you come forward and you talk to them like they're crazy. Like they're crazy. And if you ever watched, if you watch a little kid comes up and says something stupid, or if you've ever been involved in a mental hospital, you sit there and my favorite line, especially for bosses who don't know what they're talking about, I say, oh, interesting. I got this idea. We're going to send you out. And maybe if you talk about, Trump, if Trump were an actor, who would be interesting? And then you walk off. And of course, you don't acknowledge it. You just say interesting and you move on. Kind of like pat him on the head and say, that's the stupidest damn thing I've ever heard in my life. But that's interesting. Very interesting. And when you talk to your sister who says, I'm not going to vote for Trump, I know. You can't vote for him. What do you mean? You can't. What do you mean I can't vote for him? No, I understand. You can't. No, what do you mean I can't vote for him? No, because I understand what you believe, and there's no. If any of your friends found out, I don't blame you. You can't believe what you believe and vote for Trump. It's just that simple. I understand it. Wait a minute. What do you mean I can't? Because of what you believe. And that's okay. And that's the beauty of this. And listen, and if anybody tells you can't vote, you let me know, because I will defend your. You make them sound like they're crazy. You can't vote for him. What do you mean I can't? No, I don't blame you. I understand. You can't do it because it's kind of like it's exclusive. Like you wouldn't understand Trump. He talks about stuff that I know this isn't for you. Howie Brown says, I use Grammar Checker app this morning. It's a great tool. Indeed. Sometimes it's I don't know why people don't do it more often. Now, what they are doing and what these people like Kamala and these others are doing blows my mind. They're sending people like Lurch, John Kerry. He looks like that. I'm sorry. Remember that we masked? Remember that with Cher and Eric Stoltz? It's so sad. But it looks exactly like him. I looks exactly like him. I was like, dear God. This guy actually went to a doctor and said, hey, can you do that to me? Can you keep messing my face up? What? Can you keep doing it? You like this? Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I like when it looks like that. You do? Yeah. Okay. Whatever you say, I guess. You sure you like this? I love this. Okay. I don't know why they do that. Look, let me explain something to you. It's a free country. And when it comes to how people look and stuff, it's up to you. And when it comes to personal likes and just whatever makes you happy. But I just don't get it. Pilgrim says it's called burning the algorithm. Excellent. Thank you. I don't know what is called that, but that's okay. Whatever it is, it's like when people say, you know why I'm in show business? Why? This. Money? No. This. Which cracks me up. It's a joke that maybe I'm the only one who gets. So, ladies and gentlemen, we talked about Diddy. We talked about Eric Adams. We talked about Kamala. We talked about Lurch and the ultimate fashionista Hillary coming forward and talking about basically destroying our ability to get rid of the fever of misinformation, disinformation, and all that kind of jazz. CR says John Kerry wants to control speech, population, and wants us to eat bugs. He's a ghoul. You know, it's pretty bad, CR. He wants us to control speech, population, and eat bugs. You know, I don't mind that, except the eating the bug stuff. I'm kind of with you on that one. I really don't. You know, if you want to eat bugs, that's okay. You know, they say that these crickets are very nice. Did you know that? Very, very nice. They say that that is kind of a nutty flavor. You know, the Mexican food. But you know, that should be your choice. That should be what you want. You understand that? That's the critical part. You see, this is the worst part. See, censorship. And the reason why this is important, and CR brings this up, the reason why is because the only way these people are going to win is if they censor us. The only way is if they censor us. This is the only thing available for these people. This is not a joke. This is not an exaggeration. The only way they're going to win is by censoring us. Bomber Lenny, thank you, Bomber Lemmy. Appreciate it immensely. You know, there's this stuff that just drives me nuts. The Kamala, who is how bad it's been, she was installed at the last minute and is shaping up to be even less palatable, less acceptable than even Joe was. And apart from the fact that she has logorrhea, this emotional incontinence, she basically sat back and said, let these people come in. Think about this. As the border czar, she can't evade responsibility after 20 million illegal aliens storm the borders, enter our country, including hundreds of thousands of criminals, rapists, horrible individuals, the likes of which you cannot believe. Think about this. This is her legacy. And she doesn't care one thing about what you or anybody else says. She doesn't care, period. And she can't pretend that it wasn't deliberate, because all you have to do is look at video clips, hear what she has to say regarding her path to citizenship, basically taking the notion of the Constitution and destroying it, this wonderful document, and killing it. She made an attempt last week to show up for this drive-by, this 20-minute video, this photo op in Arizona. It was disgusting. Remember, she had this weird kind of like a like a bushman, like a Buana, I don't know what you want to call it, like a safari jacket. That's 90 something degree weather. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Even Pilgrim says, I enjoyed the crickets. The answer a bit piquant. You are wild. You know that? Roaches, stay away from them. Stay away from them. Roaches are a definite deal killer in my book. So anyway, she shows up. She's got the $62,000 Tiffany. She doesn't even care. How about the fact when she was on Air Force Two and she's writing? She's at this little table by herself. She's writing notes to someone. I guess getting the lowdown regarding what? Helene, the hurricane. Her phone's not plugged in. You don't use an iPhone. You use a secure phone with a better connection, better reception than an iPhone on a plane. This is the most incredible thing in the world. So Hillary Clinton shows up and John Kerry. These are the best at that damn World Economic Forum, this chat fest in UN. And Lurch comes out and he talks about climate disinformation. Misinformation. There was a difference between misinformation, disinformation, data information. I have no idea. And he says that freedom of speech is the only thing standing in the way of what he calls a consensus. That is the Democratic false narrative, a consensus. You know, we'd have a consensus if it wasn't for this damn freedom of speech thing. This was a quote of his. I say this. The dislike of and anguish over social media is just growing and growing. No, it's not. For him, it is. It is part of our problem, particularly in democracies, in terms of building consensus. That's his word, just like holistic belonged to Kamala. And then he was moaning and kvetching and screaming, and Americans no longer trust. He called them the referees we used, that we used to have to determine what is a fact and what isn't. What the hell are the referees we have? It was up to us. And I guess he's ostensibly indicating that propaganda mouthpieces, perhaps maybe like the New York Times, that nobody gives a damn about. I mean, then he says, you know, people they self-select what news they think is important. I mean, you can't believe it. Yeah, you're right about that. And Hillary's even worse. She wants to control the narrative. These are the same bastards who told you specifically that when the New York Post said, hey, I think they've got, Hunter's laptop in the home. They said, oh, no, we're not going to do that. I said, what are you talking about? He goes, oh, no, we're not going to. We have 21, 41, whatever of these people who decide that they're somehow, I don't know how they did this, but they decided that they were going to determine what is and isn't acceptable in terms of, remember that when they had 41 or so people who came out of nowhere, these intel people? Look, I don't want to rehash the same stuff. You're far too important for that. And I mean that sincerely. Wouldn't that be great tonight during the event? If I could teach all JV. You kind of wet the element. You got a better one. Hang on a minute. There we go. Hear that? Oh, yeah, baby. That's it. When Jay says, I was a coach. Beg pardon? Mr. Vance? Yes. Was that you? No. Was that me what? Did you make that noise? What noise? I was listening. Okay. Proceed, Mr. Walls. Yes. As I was saying, what? Now you did that again. I did not do that. Don't look at me. That would be the funniest. Leslie Nielsen. You know who he is, right? You know Leslie Nielsen from Naked Gun. The first time we met him years ago, he was at a Wade Boggs an event in Tampa. Wade Boggs' sister was an event, a softball game. Nicest man. And he had a thing called handy gas. And he fits in his hand. And I walked up and said, Mr. Nielsen, it's a pleasure to meet you. And he goes, oh, it's a pleasure to meet you. I said, oh, okay. And I didn't say anything. I just, So as I was walking, I met the rest of the guys. I was from the station. I said, hey, what a hell of a guy. Yeah. I said, you know, what's funniest thing happened? He goes, did he fart with you? I said, did he fart with you? Me too. Wait a minute. He farted with all of us? Hold it. So we walked in. We said, what is it? What do you got? And it was this little cushion he had, this little cushion. And it was the greatest thing. And we had it. And everywhere we went, and my friend Ted Webb was the best. He would stand at a party or something, and he would just make this face until somebody came up and said, Ted, you okay? Oh, yeah. Excuse me. Ooh, I had that one. No, it's okay. No. I've done it in stores, elevators. Well, I just do, my own. Years ago, I was on a show with Lisa. Her name is Lisa Evers now, but she was Lisa Evers. She was Lisa Sliwa, married. She was one of the Guardian Angels. It was a show called not News Nation, News something, News Center. It was in the New Yorker Hotel. Always smelled like kimchi because the Koreans. Anyway, it's been a long day. So we're on, and I'm moving my lavalier mic down here, a little bit lower. She said, what are you doing? I said, oh, nothing. And I'm hearing the music. And I hear the music. And I said, boy, is it hot in here? She says, not really. I said, yeah. Whoo, maybe, I don't know. I ate something before. Something's not right. Okay. She's not really paying attention to me. She goes, and I can hear in her IFB, 10, 5, goes, thank you. We're here today. And just like that. And she looks at me. Now, she is a black belt in karate. And I'm doing this stuff and we're talking. And I can hear in her IFB, what's that noise? What's that noise? Who is that? Who is it? Well, the problem with crime is that I think that most people recognize and hear, what's that noise? Who is that? And I can hear it. So as they cut to break, the camera pans back. And I see her looking at me. She leans over and she says, I am going to kill you. You hear me? I said, no, I know. I go, no, really. Maybe not now, but and we look like we're talking. Anyway, if he did that, everybody tomorrow around the world would say, did you see that? Did you see that? Not, did you remember his answer to why he said command sergeant major versus, no, he goes, did you hear that? When Vance did that one in the middle of it, did you hear that? It'll be all over the world. You think I'm kidding, don't you? You think I'm kidding. You think I'm kidding. You think, oh, he doesn't mean that. I'm dead serious. What do they want to know? To basically make a joke. I'll make a joke out of him and just say, I don't take him seriously because he's a liar. Pardon me. He lied about the coach. He was just in the defense. He's a liar. So that's for tonight. So that's 7 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. after the event. Well, dear friends, I hope I've added to your level of confusion and disgust. CR, gracious lady, thank you so much for your kindness, your perspicacity, your ineffable, your incredible kindness. Thank you. Pilgrim Media, thank you. Howie Brown, you've got a lovely daughter. Thank you so much. And Bomber Lemmy, thank you. And Pilgrim Media, of course, you are too much. You're the reason God made Oklahoma. All right, dear friends, don't forget, subscribe to Lionel Legal. Lionel Legal. Lionel Legal. Lionel Legal. And one more time, there is going to be a dock disaster, a stranglehold on American commerce. Go to Prepare with Lionel. It's right now. There's a link in the description section. And prepare with emergency food. Do not get caught with your pants down, so to speak. They're warning you. They're telling you specifically this is going to happen. All right? Okay. All right, dear friends, we'll do it again. Have a great and a glorious day. It was a pleasure speaking with you. We'll see you again. Don't forget, subscribe to Lionel Legal and Lionel Nation. And my beloved Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors as well. All right, dear friends, have a great and glorious day. Don't forget these final words. The monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Da, da.